I do think that crypto itself, there's two ways to look at it. One is a tradable asset like options, futures, and equities. The other is as a fundamental underlying technology.
Right.
And in the second lens, it's the next stage in evolution. We've gone from, paper and pencil, filing cabinet based financial services to mainframe to on-premise, and then more recently cloud. Now, crypto is the next stage in that, where a lot of the business logic that we've required businesses to actually build is now shared infrastructure. So exchanges, lending pools, payment processors, all these things are replaced by software. So I think in the future, crypto technology will power trading and all sorts of financial services, including trading in stocks and other TradFi assets. So the two will fully merge.
So what he's talking about right here, this is the Robinhood CEO and founder, Vlad Tenev. He's talking about the integration between both traditional finance or stocks and crypto or Bitcoin. And if you haven't been paying attention to the Bitcoin treasury companies and what's been going on over the past month or two, you've been sitting under a rock. And getting straight into it, the biggest news right now is talking about MetaPlanet. They've officially started their 555 plan, and we'll get into what that means and why this is super bullish. And with this price pullback, this is a major opportunity for you to secure your bag. Now, looking at the price at the current time of this recording, we're seeing the Japanese market is open. The yen's down to 1293. And we did some price for you, some prices to see where this fell to. Right now, the price per share in US dollars is $8.94. This is definitely an opportunity to stack your bags. Now, could the price fall lower? Yes. And we'll talk about that in a short to mid-term, but this is extremely bullish. This is the spring getting ready to coil. We'll get into all that in a second, but look at this channel here. Look at this channel. We hit this top bound, based out, top bound, based out, ran to the top bound, ran to some resistance, and then blasted through it. And with this pullback, we just came back and potentially just back tested this from resistance. They acted as resistance since way back in May of this year. This is on the 3-day chart. And are we just flipping this to resistance to have a bounce off, to have a continuation to the upside for the next level? That could be what's in the cards, but pay attention to the US Open tomorrow. Will we get another drawdown, and will we come back down to retest the lower levels of this bound that acted as support? Either way you cut the cloth, it's a buying opportunity. Have your strategy and dollar cost average. But looking at MTPLF, this chart had came back and kissed the 20 moving average almost perfectly. Right here you see we came back at 1039. Now remember, we fell through this, and the current time it's recording, we are in the $8 range. It all depends on what happens during the Japanese market. Right now, the Japanese yen has went back up to 1308. So will we get a rally before the Japanese market closes and before the US market opens? Potentially. But what has happened? Simon and team, 10% of the 555 million plan executed on day one. 10%. They've already ran through and raised about 74.9 billion yen, which is $500 million or $500 million. They did this in one day. They're already 10% into their plan. Will they do this over the next 10 days and go through all 100%? And in that case, we could get some more dilution as far as short-term pain, but that's just coiling the spring and amping it up and supercharging this stock with Bitcoin. Dylan LeClaire is weighing in and saying MetaPlanet raised $500 million in equity capital on day one of its 555 plan, while simultaneously extinguishing $281 million of ordinary bonds. The Bitcoin rating, which is the Bitcoin NAV, net asset value, divided by the debt, re-rated from 4x to 97.8x in the process. MetaPlanet now holds $1.18 billion in Bitcoin against $0.012 billion in bonds. So what's this mean? Let's break it down in layman's terms. ChatGPT. So think of it like this: a person with Bitcoin savings account with some credit card debt. Before the 5-5 plan, they had $4 of Bitcoin for every $1 of credit card debt. And now after it, they now have $98 of Bitcoin for every $1 of credit card debt. This makes their financial position much stronger. Why this matters is because that 97.8x ratio means they're almost debt free relative to their Bitcoin holdings, which means they have no leverage, no debt, nothing is tied up against the Bitcoin. The Bitcoin is theirs outright. Almost, not 100%, but you're pretty close. Investors and analysts see this as very bullish because this is bullish. With this $500 million buy, this is another 4,000 to 5,000 Bitcoin on top of what they already have, the 11,101. That'll take them up to roughly about, give or take, depending on the buy, 15 to 16,000. This is that flywheel that we've been talking about. So that next leg up for Bitcoin, MetaPlanet is definitely going to go crazy. And like Vincent's been saying, he's saying it's all about speed and precise execution. This is what the MetaPlanet team is great at. And we have an interview that's coming out tomorrow. We took a deep dive into this with a good friend of the channel. You guys don't want to miss that interview, but this precision that the MetaPlanet team is showing is definitely not to be dismissed. And right here, there's a combination of a few things of why the price went down, but basically they issued 10% of their 555, 54 million shares, realized dilution. So there is some realized dilution there, but large Bitcoin buys also follow. So there's volatility to the upside and volatility to the downside. On these downsides, when they're doing that short-term dilution, that's when you want to continue to either just hodl or back the truck up and buy more shares, because once again, the spring is getting coiled before that next leg up. And shout out to Chris. This chart here, this MNAV sensitivity analysis, is showing you the projected Bitcoin accumulation by the end of this year. We're going to be having a wide range from 22,000 up to 102,000. Now, it's almost fair to say this lower bound you can almost X out, because with this recent raise, they're almost at or past 16,000 Bitcoin, almost at 22. But how aggressive are they going to be for the rest of this year? You be the judge. Nobody was expecting it to happen this fast, but the execution doesn't surprise the Bitcoin bros and a lot of the MetaPlanet community, because they've been going at bullet speed. Most people aren't understanding, and they're making these faces like, oh man, the price is going down. But shout out to Micro to Macro, a bunch of Bitcoin treasuries just issued a crap ton of debt to buy more Bitcoin. As sick MNAVs, people are worried about the short-term drops. Buy the short-term drops or just hodl through them, and you'll see what's to come in the months. The fun is just beginning. This is what strategic dilution looks like from Adam Livingston. The time to act is now. Right now is the most optimal time. Buy red when there's blood in the streets, and understand what the team is doing. Don't just throw money at a wall and you don't thoroughly understand what's going on behind the curtain. This is strategic dilution. They've raised almost $500 million, over $500 million to buy Bitcoin and supercharge the car. And right now, as long as Bitcoin trades sideways, this is accretive, and it's going to end up being a spring or a catapult or a rocket or whatever analogy you want to use once Bitcoin takes off. We hope you're prepared. MetaPlanet right now is in the midst of building their moat. They're building their Bitcoin moat. They already have their hotel. You can get your MetaPlanet Lego set, but this is just getting started. We hope you're positioned. We've been telling you this on the channel. We're going to be focusing on this and reporting this to you on a daily basis to make sure that you don't miss out on what's going on and staying on top of this market. Things are moving very fast because there's not that much time to stack Bitcoin before ultimately the big boys show up. When the big boys show up, meaning the US government, when federal governments start buying it, the FOMO really sets in. And with that, I'm Sean with the Bitcoin Bros. You guys like this content, go ahead and smash the like button. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, go ahead and show us some love. We appreciate the support. And with that, I'm out.